Going to focus on your pocketbook now. I got Tim Snyder, economist, MatadorEconomics.com. And let's start at the fuel pump. So, a few days back, Tim, there was this report on the national average of gas now being nationwide, despite California and all the prices over there in communist land being through the roof. Uh, we got prices at the pump below $3 average. There's a give and take on that, though. I mean, what's the what's the scenario when it comes to job creation, extraction, all that relates to all this, the cheap gas we have right now.
It's great to be with you, Sergio, and I'll tell you, there's a lot going on in the fuel business these days. Margins are tight. We know that they've been tight for this last year. We've been watching the price of crude oil coming up and down. There's going to be some economic shifts here in the next, probably within the next week, that could create a little bit of a groundswell with prices. In other words, we're watching what happens with India as they've been buying Russian crude oil and using it in their refineries, and of course turning back around and selling the product itself. And that's there's going to be a reshift in that adjustment because India is right now interested in lowering the tariffs that they're paying to the United States and trying to get a trade deal. So that'll make a difference. I think demand for gasoline is very strong, Sergio. Excuse me, here in the U.S. and around the world. And then on top of all of this, excuse me, we have record crude oil production. We're right at near record crude oil production, 13.636 million barrels per day. And crude oil production is going to help keep those gasoline prices down, especially as OPEC continues to work on their program of unwinding their production cuts.
Tim Snyder at MatadorEconomics.com. Earlier, when I went fishing on where India gets its fuel, so it's Russia, it's I do believe it's Iraq or Iran, and probably Iran, a combination of both, and Saudi Arabia. So that means what? They're going to get more fuel from the Saudis and try to cut the spigot a little bit to shorten the revenue for Russia, or what's the plan?
I will tell you that the news that Reuters reported 2 days ago that India is uh, negotiating to commit to the United States for more crude oil to replace that Rosneft and Lukoil oil that they've been bringing in on sanctioned ships into India. Um, that's just kind of a carrot and a stick kind of concept that they're looking at. They want to dangle something out there and try to get a good trade deal with the U.S. And so
Okay.
I think the U.S. is going to be the primary first benefactor. But remember, Donald Trump's objective here is to try to economically starve the Russians from being able to continue to prosecute that war against Ukraine. And so anywhere, other than Russia, is going to be the benefit.
Okay. Tim Snyder at MatadorEconomics.com. So Q4, cheaper gas, likely to hold through Christmas, right? So it might be good for any travel on the road, right? And for airlines too, I would
Yep.
imagine maybe make a little bit more money
Right.
going into Q4. There was this planned multi-billion-dollar project south of Houston, uh, this plastic pellet manufacturer, ExxonMobil, put the pause button on that. You'd figure that would be a moneymaker. They've been working on this for years. ExxonMobil putting a $10 billion plastic plant, this plastic pellet plant, Calhoun County, on hold. So what happened there, Tim?
I think they're reading some of the tea leaves. I know there's going to be an ongoing battle with the left, with the Greens, the Green side over there, and there was a lawsuit that was filed against the school district that was going to give the ExxonMobil a tax break
Hmm.
for them to build that plant there in Calhoun County. So a group out of San Antonio came together, and we know the drill down in the valley because you guys went through that with Next Decade and what you guys are dealing with your LNG plant. Even though we've gotten past that, ExxonMobil doesn't have the attitude, or doesn't have the appetite for a fight right now. They see the potential over gasoline or diesel crude oil prices being lower and margins being tighter, and simply they're just going to make a strategic decision. Fine, we'll put this on hold. And Calhoun County, you're probably not going to get this plant
Oof.
because Exxon's going to pull the capex dollars and put them somewhere else to make them productive and not have a fight.
Oh, how sad. All right. So, yeah, liquefied natural gas. Yeah, we cleared all those nasty hurdles. And we got 4,000 plus people, maybe 5,000, close to that, working daily, building that liquefied natural gas node. We got likely another one on the way. I think they've lined up their customers for that one. Just want to get your thoughts on the economic impact of LNG on obviously bringing prosperity and wealth to the valley. First time ever we've seen this type of injection that's non-governmental, right? So the impact to the economy in Texas and the country for that matter. So we might have some more LNG customers overseas.
The thing I love about this, Sergio, is you and I have been talking about the LNG opportunity and what that means for the Rio Grande Valley, and not just the RGV, but also the entire state of Texas and the U.S. since before the pandemic. You guys have done such a tremendous job keeping the awareness into the citizens' minds. They know that you guys have provided so much great information during this time, and it's been critical that we be able to fight that battle. Now we're to the point where they're building the plant, they're doing the things that they need to do, they're gaining the billions of dollars of economic support that they need to get this project underway, including securing offtake agreements, which makes a big difference for what's going to happen and increase your profitability. When this plant is producing, it will generate significant revenues for not only the Rio Grande Valley, and you talked earlier about the number of jobs that the LNG industry is going to bring to Rio Grande Valley, but really the entire state of Texas, the infrastructure throughout the entire state of Texas is going to benefit from how this thing goes. And so I'm tickled about where this is happening. And I believe it's going to continue to grow over time. If you look at the numbers, and I've been crunching the numbers, if you look at the numbers, there's an interesting scenario developing in that natural gas has built its own longevity into this process because first of all, it's clean. Second of all, it's cheap. And third of all, it's abundant. And those three things work very well as you move forward. And I hate to say this, but not trying to sound disparaging, but it's a whole lot better than having to look off into the Gulf of Mexico and look at a bunch of wind turbines.
That's true. Tim Snyder, MatadorEconomics.com. Any way to pipe some Canadian crude down to Houston again? That Keystone XL project that Biden killed. Can we get it back? Or, we got like 3 years left in the Trump administration. Hopefully they keep going with energy-friendly policies after that. But where is that? Have you heard anything on reviving that project?
Keystone will not be revived. Keystone XL2 will not be, or the XL pipeline will not be revived. The company that owns it now, there's the primary Keystone that covers the northern United States out of Canada, but the Keystone XL pipeline will not be renewed. If something comes about, Sergio, it's going to have to be a totally new project. There are some discussions on a new project, but we need to get that. Remember, it's a balance in the refineries. We've got to have all types of crude oil so we can make maximum efficiency with the petrochemicals that we have and make sure it's very productive. So, we really need to have that Canadian tar sands crude down here to offset with the light sweet crude we pull out of West Texas and eastern Texas as well, and across the country. We've got to have that blend. So, right now they're looking at what their opportunities are, but there's no real plans because the Biden administration, not only did they kill it legally, they went and killed it physically because they took all that pipe that they had already laid, cut it into sections, into small pieces, and sent it back to plants where they could be melted down and used for something else. It was just not there.
Wow. Okay. So President Trump announces the Arctic Refuge will be open for drilling up in Alaska. Your thoughts on that, and how quickly will that be up and running?
I think it was much anticipated. Hopefully that's going to be up and running, in 6 months, maybe after we get past the winter months, and we'll see what happens. Many in Alaska have been waiting for this because this is a revenue source for them, on top of the fact that it provides much needed crude oil for refineries and everything else down here in the United States. So that's our own crude, that's our own country, those are our citizens, and we're looking forward to being able to get that going again. Boy, we needed to have that reignited again. The North Sea, Arctic crude. There's tremendous reserves up there, and if we are not very careful and we don't protect our own, it's going to go to somebody else, because Russia's very interested in developing those North Sea and those Arctic assets.
There was this final thought from you on another topic of energy, which is rare earth minerals. There was this Australian company in the news, Lynas Rare Earth, that is hoping to develop a heavy rare earth separation facility near Houston at Seadrift. Plans for that rare earth mineral refinery on the Texas Gulf Coast. Is that a moneymaker? Is that a good market for Texas to continue pursuing more of these refineries for rare earth?
Absolutely, Sergio. I think that anything that we do with regards to rare earth minerals helps us keep our trade protected. One of the most vulnerable spots that we have in our national policy, security policy, is in the energy sector with regards to rare earth minerals and why we need them, where we need them. China controls, they extract about 70%, but they control about 90% of the world's rare earth minerals, even though these minerals are found all around the world. We even have them here in the United States in abundant amounts. The difference is we've got to be able to manufacture them. We've got to be able to take them out. We've got to change their form and be able to have them readily available for military uses. Jet airplanes use them. Some missiles use them. There's other AI type needs that we've got to have. So I think it's very important we have this. I believe this plant's got a tremendous chance of moving forward as the redevelopment or the development of this AI technology that we're looking at.
Yes,
has gone just mainstream right now.
Okay, well, it's good to hear the investment again on this rare earth refinery in Texas, likely to complement all the high tech. Soon moving into Houston, all those supercomputers and chip manufacturing and the data centers, all that's taking place.
Yes.
In the Texas economy. Tim, thank you. Look for his daily, right? It's a daily newsletter. Or how often do you, daily newsletter? I know that's why he wakes up at 5 a.m. to start writing. Look for his newsletter, MatadorEconomics.com. Economist Tim Snyder. Be well, brother.